السلام عليكم إخواني وأخواتي المقبلين على اجتياز مباراة التعليم بالتعاقد. مرحبا بكم في هذا الفيديو الجديد من فيديوهات المتعلقة ب English Didactics، وهذا الفيديو متعلق ب Learning and Teaching Methods. So let's start. Let's begin with Behaviorism Approach Methods. النظرية السلوكية. الميثودز اللي تستعمل في هذه النظرية عندنا GTM Grammar Translation Method. techniques اللي تنستعملو فيها translation, memorization of rules and vocabulary items. Teaching of grammar is deductive, not inductive. We don't use the target language, we use the mother tongue or L1. It is concerned with reading activities. The advantages of this method: students master grammar, they develop reading and writing skills, students acquire a large number of lexics or vocabulary via memorization. There is repetition, we have imitation and memorization. The disadvantages of, or the cons of, the drawbacks of this method: speaking or oral communication is neglected, is overlooked. 2. Not all teachers are good at translating and don't know students L1. That's it. And we'll move to another. We stay within the behaviorism approach. We move to the direct method. Techniques that we use in this method: demonstration, miming, we use visual aids or visuals, we use the target language. Teaching of grammar is inductive, done inductively. There is modeling. We move to the advantages of this method. We emphasize on fluency, not accuracy. It facilitates the learning of vocabulary items. Then it makes the process of learning enjoyable to students. The drawbacks or the flaws of disadvantages of this method: it focuses on fluency, not on accuracy. It depends, or it focuses on speaking and listening skills and avoids or excludes other skills. 3. The teachers, the last one, the teacher should or supposed to have native-like accent and be fluent. Let's move to another method. and again within the behaviorism theory. Again, we have audiolingual method. The techniques that are used in this method, we have drills, means substitution, chain, choral, backward. We have repetition, teaching of grammar done inductively. We use dialogues, and we use PPP technique, or presentation, practice and production. The advantages of this method: we use oral form of language, the emphasis on listening skills, so the skill of listening is developed. 3. All students are engaged in the process of learning. We move to the disadvantages, the cons of this method. We have mechanical drills. There are mechanical drills which are counter or anti-productivity or creativity of the learner. We use drill exercises. The second cons, drawback, meaning is neglected. There is blind repetition of words or sentences. 3. Writing is overlooked. Let's move to the second. We move from behaviorism approach techniques to the communicative language teaching approach, and it is also a method of teaching. The communicative language teaching. We will move. Let's start with the techniques. The techniques that are used in this method: oral practice and production. We have presentation, controlled and free practice. We have interactive and integrative activities. We have group work, peer work, and pair work. We use especially WH questions. The advantages of this method: students develop communicative skills. Moreover, students practice language in a real life situations. Let's move to the disadvantages. We have just only everyday language is taught, while other forms of language are not taught. Like everyday language is informal, and other forms like formal standard language is neglected. Grammar is not systematically taught. Writing and reading are overlooked. Let's move to another approach, which is very essential, which helps in the development of teaching and learning methods. Teaching and learning enterprise. The first method, we have community. Within a humanistic approach, we have community language learning. The techniques that we use in this method, we have translation, grammar. Teaching grammar is inductive. We have repetition, transcription, reflection, and group work. Let's have now the advantages of this method. 1. Students learn social and communicative skills. As well as pragmatic skills. The students develop the pragmatic competence. They are able to use language in the appropriate context. 2. Students' inhibitions are lowered, promoting favorable environment for learning to take place. 3rd advantage, it generates independent students. It emphasizes the autonomy, the freedom of students. Let's have the disadvantages. 1. Not all teachers are good translators. Teachers may not know the mother tongue of the students. This is one of the flaws of this method. 2. It is time consuming. The third and the last drawback, we focus on fluency over accuracy. Let's move to another method within the humanistic approach, the silent way method. The techniques that we should equip with, we use and we have roads, colored cards, pronunciation charts, list T3 TTT, giving cues, emphasize on nonverbal communication, body language, facial expressions. The advantages of this method, we have less TTT. 2. Students develop pronunciation 90%. 3. We have self-satisfaction of students. Let's have the disadvantages of this method. to avoid teacher-centered instructions, things may go to the other extreme. Students need some directions. The teacher needs to guide students. 2. It is time consuming. Students may struggle to understand the word for a while, whereas it can be explained easily by the teacher. The third drawback, not all students are highly motivated. We need to motivate students. That's why this method doesn't neglect motivation of students. Let's move to another method within, again, the humanistic approach, which is Suggestipedia method. The techniques that we use in this Suggestipedia method, we use music to relax students, we use fine arts, we use visual aids to relax students, relaxation, in order to reduce and overcome their psychological feature or anxiety, and then we start learning, start teaching and learning process. The arts of this method: 1, it creates favorable climate or conditions for the learning to occur, to take place. 2nd, students feel at ease, overcome their anxiety and shyness. This is important. 3, students increase their abilities to learn and to interact with the teacher. We go to this ads. 1, it lacks flexibility. It is not applicable to all classes. 2, it lacks tests. 3, it neglects or it overlooks grammar. Let's get to another method, again within the humanistic approach, which is total physical response method. The techniques that we use in this method: 1, miming, use comments, we use games. There is minimum verbal communication. We use non-verbal communication. Ads or advantages of this. Or the pros of this method: we have comprehension is immediate and easy. 2nd, long-term retention or storage. 3, learning is fun and enjoyable since it involves movements in games. It targets badly kinesthetic style-based learners. the cons of this, the flaws of this method. One, it cannot be used to explain abstract notions or concepts like emotions, like feelings. Two, students don't express themselves freely, only respond to comments of the teacher. Three, it challenges, or there is challenging for shy students. So let's move to another method, which is based on the humanistic approach, which is task-based learning method. Some of the techniques that we use are tasks or activities, group work, interactive and integrative activities. The advantages of this method: one, students become independent or autonomous. Second, students develop social and communicative skills. Three, it increases students' intrinsic motivation. Let's go ahead to the disadvantages of this method. One, the risk of achieving fluency over accuracy. There is risk. Second, students may not be committed to the task or may use L1 while doing so. Three, it may not be applicable to large classes. Just to small size. Let's move to another method within the humanistic approach, which is project-based learning method. The techniques that we use in this method: we have group work, projects, guidance, and presentations. The odds of this method: it promotes learners' autonomy, it boosts or it develops, it increases their affects, self-confidence, self-esteem. It is useful for mixed abilities classes. It prepares them for real life situations. It helps them to be creative. The cons or the disadvantages of this method: there is lack of resources or knowledge of the use of resources. Students may not know how to use computers. It is time consuming. And let's move to the last method within the the last approach, and it is also uh, a, me a method standards-based approach. The techniques that are used in this approach or method: we have dialogues, we have discussions, speaking activities, we have tasks, and we have projects. The aims of this approach: it promotes learners' independence, it encourages oral use of language, the oral form of language over the written form. It prepares students for real situations. However, this method has also disadvantages. The communicative and communication may not be achieved. The last one, some students don't have the means to communicate, especially poor ones. I have got to the end of this video. I hope you have benefited from it, and I see you in another video. Thank you for paying attention.